But is therapy even right for me? This is a question I get asked all the time, sometimes within my professional life and sometimes just being social with friends or when I meet people. Hi, my name is Angela Ariano. I am a licensed marriage and the family therapist. I'm working in the state of California. What I'm going to discuss, please do not consider it being given a diagnosis or any type of therapy. I just want to be able to help people know if therapy is right for them, decrease the stigma, and I'm hoping in other videos to just be able to help people feel more comfortable starting therapy or even going into therapy. Also, I am not at all a influencer or content creator, so please be kind to me in the comments, and let's be kind to everyone in the comments. We are just wanting to educate ourselves and feel more comfortable within the therapeutic process. So let's dig into it. Another reason I guess I'll say I decided to make these videos is a lot of people sometimes think that they don't need therapy to begin with, or that there's a stigma of, well, that's for those kind of people, like I'm not that. Or maybe we diminish our trauma. And that's something I hear often as well. So let's just see if therapy is right for you. In some videos, finding the right therapist, what different approaches maybe there are, what you can talk about in therapy, and how you can even just show up in therapy. And I think I might make a video of like how hard it is to afford mental health in America, in California specifically. I cannot speak. But today, we're just going to talk about, is therapy right for me? Oftentimes we think therapy is just for people with some type of diagnosis, whether it's like schizophrenia all the way to like anxiety, OCD. Sometimes we don't want the stigma or the title of that. So let's kind of break it down and even see, do I need therapy? And I kind of think the simple answer is yes, everyone has it. But then the short, complicated answer is, well, no, not necessarily. Yeah, I get it. I'm not making things easy for us. But let's get into some of the reasons of why people might go into therapy. Really simple. Sometimes it's just feeling stressed and feeling overwhelmed. We are living also in a really hard time right now. It is 2026. Things are rough and things are scary. If you just need to process what's going on in the world, that's a great place to go. Therapy is a great place for you to be able to go and share your experiences with world events and maybe conflict that's causing in your life. Work stress, family stress, life stress, those are reasons to go to therapy. Also, relationship problems. You don't have to go to couples therapy if you're having a relationship problem. Of course, couples therapy is great to go into, but if your partner is not wanting to go, you can still go and begin to figure out what you need to work on, or just talk out what's going on in your relationship. Life transitions, starting a new job, getting married, getting divorced, any type of transition we go into is a great place and time to be able to go into therapy. Let's go into grief and pain. These are great reasons to go to therapy. When we lose someone, that's a time to go to therapy. Grief is not just losing someone, it's losing a job, losing a friendship. You know, they're still alive, but you've decided to no longer be friends with this person, or they decided that. That's a great reason. And sometimes it's simply just wanting support or someone to talk to, or a new perspective. Oftentimes I have seen people who don't really have anyone they can go to because they're the emotional support for their whole family. So they want someone that they can go to who can just be that support for them. A therapist, a good therapist, is simply to be that emotional support and that unbiased, non-judgmental place. So I'm going to break them down just a little bit more into stress. Stress is one of the most common reasons to go into therapy. This might even just be, like I said, work stress, school stress, family, anything that's going on. Let's get into it. The world events are stressful. No matter what side of the political stance you are on, it is scary and it is hard. Sometimes stress really does begin to affect our health also. So going into therapy is a great place for you to be able to just process what you're going on, learning coping skills maybe, and having a time just to sit and reflect on what is going on with you. Relationships, another great reason to go into and seek therapy. Romantic, friendships, family, Or even I've had people come to me because they want to have friendships, they want a romantic relationship. That's a great time to go into therapy. Therapy can help people explore their patterns or relationships and develop healthier ways to connect to others. Another reason would be life transitions. Let's get into some of the examples: a new job, getting married, ending a relationship, moving, becoming a parent, just entering a new phase of life. Different age brackets sometimes can be really hard. These are all great reasons to just go into therapy. Next reason, emotional pain and grief. Grief is another important reason people seek therapy. And like I said, it doesn't have to be just losing someone through death. It can just be even losing a job. Grief can come with that. Losing, maybe realizing a dream that you had might not come true. There can be grief with that. Accepting things that are hard in life are great times to come into therapy. What about personal growth and support? Sometimes people come into therapy simply because they want to understand themselves better. Oftentimes, I also have seen people who are like, I want to understand why I make the choices I do. I want to understand why I do these things. And so that's when we go into maybe doing a little bit more, let's look into our childhood, let's look into our parents. And it is not at all a place to be judged, but it's a place to just understand where you're coming from or the choices you make. Sometimes it helps us understand other people better too, when we go, oh, that makes sense because I know someone who had a certain type of upbringing, so that makes sense why this is how they handle conflict and why I handle conflict and why there's kind of a mess. Therapy is a great place just to explore yourself. And even, well, we'll get into it in another video of finding the right therapist for you. Many times it's happened to me myself, and I'm sure I've been someone's crappy therapist, I'll be honest, but I've also been someone's great therapist. Sometimes it just comes down to personality or our phase of life that we're in sometimes as the client. And sometimes it comes into like the modality. So maybe we'll do a video on the different types of modality that there can be and knowing what you want. I do like to say it's also being a little open-minded to therapy. And something to keep in mind too, as I'm kind of leaving my topic today, but something to keep in mind is that oftentimes we think therapy is really hard and we're like way up here and it's really, really tough. And then we have this session with our therapist and it's like a light bulb moment and then just life gets great. Life is like, and then we're like, no more depression, no more anxiety. Life is wonderful. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily how it goes. You know, therapy is going to be hard. Sometimes it gets really rough because now we're having to talk about things. And there might be a great moment and we're like, I'm feeling better. But then something's going to happen and it's going to go rough. Therapy can sometimes be a little more like this. Go back up. But it's sticking to it and putting in the effort. I think anyone can go to therapy. And at one time in their life should go. Therapy does not have to be, lack of a better phrase, like a life sentence. It should just be, hey, I'm going through a hard time right now. I'm going to go to therapy. And once you start feeling better and you're like, oh, I can apply what my therapist has taught me, or I am feeling better, you can leave and you can always just come back to therapy. You can go back to that therapist, or you can just find a new therapist that works for you. Group therapy is something to consider too. Finding the right topic, I guess, within group therapy. Group therapy can be so beneficial because it gives you that community and that sense of not being alone. So you can talk to a therapist, hey, should I do group therapy or individual, family, group and family, individual and family, finding all those things. But it's just meeting with a therapist for the first time and seeing if therapy is best for you. It is something we all need, and I really want us to destigmatize. And I think what's happening right now is really great, where it is getting destigmatized. It is like, yeah, everyone should go to therapy and just learn to better themselves. And that's something that is so beneficial. I know therapy, the way I grew up, and just the time that I grew up in, it was for like, for other people. I don't want to put certain words out there, but, it was like, well, I'm not in that title, I don't need it. But we all just need someone to talk to, and it's okay to find someone. So if you're wondering whether therapy might be helpful for you, the answer is always simply, I think yes. Therapy can support anyone in just about any situation. You don't have to have experienced trauma to start therapy. You basically just need to be a person. Let me know if this helped or if you have any other questions in this and maybe other future topics. I want to get into how do I even find a therapist? How do I know if a therapist is right for me? How do I talk to my therapist? What do I do if I feel uncomfortable in therapy? Let's just start topics like that. I do not at all want to have this be therapy sessions or at all diagnose people, but just help people feel more comfortable going into therapy. I hope you all are having a great day and week and everything, and take time for yourself.